Here we go. Ready for some sweet, sweet top 16 action. And what is that I spy on the bottom half of the screen, Jdoza? That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
It is Cosmic Creations seasonal champion UCG Bboom Teemo back for another top cut and looking good and well positioned for another win.
Excuse me, don't cut B's off his name. It is UCG Bboom
Boom. I'm
Teemo.
sorry. Yeah.
All right.
So
Let's say
you're
it
one of the players
properly.
that says someday, not just someday.
It's a someday, yeah. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I mean, Bboom Teemo, an absolutely amazing player. We've seen them before, like you mentioned in the last seasonal. Very excited to see how far they're going to make it here. And right now, already in the round of 16. So doing pretty well. Starting off here with TLC action, which we are very used to seeing. Alongside some Zoe Aurelian Soul. We just talked earlier, Boulevard, you had made the comment, if you're playing Leona Aurelian Soul, it's probably because your Zoe is elsewhere. In this case, we are actually seeing the Zoe alongside Aurelian Soul, and it's in the top 16, so we'll see if that deck makes a little bit of a difference here.
So this is another one of those matchups, and I think one of the reasons why Zoe Aesol was, or just rather Demacia Aesol, was one of the most popular third decks, is it feels like it can beat both Thresh Nasus and TLC, because your board is extremely resilient to board wipes. We were talking a little bit earlier about how you're not really getting on board until, turn 4 or 5. You're not like swarming, you're just throwing out a bunch of 5 health Demacia units or 7 HP Targon units and things like that. So the Avalanches, the Withering Whales, the Blighted Ravines, these are not good cards in a matchup like this. That said, it does also mean that you're not really putting on enough early pressure to get your opponent down. And turn 9 is when the TLC deck is going to combo off, ideally for them, right? And we are going to have not the attack token until 10, but it will be a little bit weird because the catalyst does mean that we're sort of disjointed on the turns on which we're attacking and things like that. So yeah, I gotta say, the hand of Bboom Teemo right now looking pretty solid, still missing a few pieces, but ultimately definitely a hand that can win, especially if we just continue to pass back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, as a TLC player, you love to see that going back and forth, right? I mean, okay, let's go to the next turn. Let's get another draw. Let's go ahead and just keep advancing this clock towards me being able to summon 8-cost units. The only problem with Teemo's hand right now is obviously not having the Trundle, not having any of those Spectral Matrons or anything like that. We do have an Averrosion Sentry off the top. That's going to feel pretty good, allowing us to dig a little bit more there for some of those cards. There is 3 Spectral Matron in the deck. I know sometimes there's 2. I feel like most players are now gravitating towards the 3 copies there, and I mean that's what we're gonna need. I mean, a lot of times this deck can't actually close out the game on turn 9 where we're at now, but because we haven't been able to get those 8-cost units down, it's looking like it's gonna take a few more turns there.
Yeah, but with the cards that we have in hand, I think that we should be able to survive towards that. And we've got the Vengeance, we've got the Flash Freeze, we've got a little bit more healing. Really shouldn't have too much of a problem. It's just, can we prevent the Aesol level up? And is the initial Celestial out of Aesol threatening enough to sort of end the game? Because as it stands, okay, the Withering Wheel is actually a pretty nice pickup because it means we don't have to use the Flash Freeze to pop the Spell Shield. And I actually wanted to get your thoughts on this because Withering Whale is something that Thresh Nasus decks have played a little bit of because, it's so good in the mirror. But Withering Whale, outside of Thresh Nasus, feels like it's bad in literally every other matchup.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very meta call, Boulevard. I feel like we've gone through this with so many different meta games that we've seen over the Jesus. Can I say years now?
Can I year?
Can I, over the year?
1 year.
Well, it's like a year and a half.
Happy birthday, Runeterra, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday. It's just, it really depends on the state of the metagame, if it's going to be useful or not. And I got to agree with you. Right now, it doesn't feel like the best card, but in a deck like TLC, I do feel like it's almost required just in case you do run into, some of those more aggressive decks. We've seen Scouts start to come up a little bit more lately, although that Scouts just blows out Withering Whale with something like Ranger's Resolve, so that just proves the point even more. But we do see Vengeance here coming out on the Aesol, so this is huge already, just being able to get a straight up trade here for Bboom Teemo on the Vengeance with the Aurelian Soul. So this great start for Teemo here.
I think Ruination is the real power card that we're going to be looking for on the side of Bboom Teemo. That is the one that swings this matchup wholly back into the favor of TLC, but there's only 1 copy. And another thing that I'm noticing is there's 1 copy of Atrocity.
Yeah, that's been in hand for a little while now. By the way, we just saw a Hush that was burned for Dreadway, which I think is, that just feels bad. But yeah, I was going to ask you, so do you, Atrocity is by no means always in this deck.
No, it
do you
used
like
to
it?
be in some of the earlier builds. I don't love it, but I get it. You know, there are a lot of
Trundle.
games where your opponent just says, "Hey, go ahead and put me down to, 8 HP. It doesn't matter because you're not killing me with damage." And you have that one card that says, "Hey, actually, I am going to kill you with damage." My problem is that there are so many cards in the TLC deck that are already dead in so many matchups, like that Withering Wail we were talking about, that I don't think I can really afford to have another one. And something else that I just want to segue to here. UCG Bboom Teemo actually has the matron combo assembled, but it's a really awkward way to do it. You have to throw down a naked matron, double fading memories it, matron into a Lysandra, and then use the last matron to get out the Watcher.
We
but
don't
we
like
do
that.
have the combo.
we don't like that Boulevard. We don't. That's I mean, I've played this deck before. I've been in those situations where that's kind of what you feel like you might need to do, and if that is the situation that you're in, it's not gonna end too well. Especially because there is a Hush in the hand of Dreadway, and honestly, if there's a deck that is gonna be able to deal with 1/11/17 coming down, it's this deck. I mean, we have Hushes, we have Concerted Strikes might even be able to kill it at 17 health at some point with like an Aurelian Soul and a Destroyer on field, right? So we're gonna go for it. We're gonna do it. We're just
we don't have. I mean, what else were we gonna do with this turn?
I don't know. This is just rough. Like I definitely understand the position that Bboom Teemo is in, but I'm not sure this is actually a winning line versus specifically Targon Demacia here in this lineup. This is gonna be rough for Bboom Teemo. I'm curious to see how this ends here.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. We do have access to Entomb right here. So we could Entomb something to, just kind of get it out of the way, but the threat of a single combat coming down onto our 6/6 in response to that would be a game-losing line, and it is a rough situation. As you had mentioned, you don't love making this play. You really don't want to have to do it, and I think we are even going to have to go for a Withering Wail here, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to survive because of Sharp Sight and even, dare I say, Judgment. Judgment could come down, proc a bunch of Furies, but in fact, we are blocking both the dragons, so that one's not quite as relevant.
Yeah, and we get to keep the Spectral Matron, which is super, super important. I gotta say, yeah, the Entombs possibly could come in big too, because another way you can use the Entombs is, of course, to just Entomb your own unit, resummon it if it is the Matron, if it is 8 cost or a Pillar or anything like that. That could also proc, towards Lysandra's level up. So, oh no, that was lethal. All right, and that is going to be game 1.
A quick end to the previous game as a really bricked hand on the side of Bboom Teemo didn't really play out for them, and now we are going to get the mirror match. I don't know how many, if any, mirror matches for TLC we have seen so far, but I will say that it is heavily favored, much like the Thresh Nasus mirror, for whoever is attacking on odds, and right now that's Dreadway.
Yeah, being able to get that turn 8, off turn there, being able to get the Matron down, get the Pillars summoned, and then go into summoning the Watcher on turn 9 is going to be very, very important here for either player. Right now, I got to say, too, Dreadway, having 2 Trundles in hand, going to feel really, really good. On the side of Bboom Teemo, I mean, we're looking at another, it's similar. We have all those fading memories and the Spectral Matron, but no Trundle, and generally speaking, I feel like you want the Trundle more than anything in this matchup.
I mean, funny enough, these fading memories do give us access to our opponent's pillars.
Yeah.
So each of those is almost its own Trundle. So Bboom Teemo does still have the combo on 9, but doesn't have it on... Well, technically, they can have it on 8. If you can stick a Lysandra on 7 and have it actually live through everything that you're putting down. But if I remember correctly, in order to combo off on 8, I think you can only have 1 unit on board at the start of the round, and that doesn't work if you've got Lysandra and the Frozen Thrall landmark. So I don't think that Bboom Teemo is realistically going to be able to pop off on 8 no matter how hard they try. And Vengeance could come out here. Even if there is a second Lysandra out of Bboom Teemo, if he wants to run that risk and play that card again, then that's just more landmarks clogging up the board.
Yeah, that Vengeance, that was a snap Vengeance. That came out immediately. And there's the other... Yeah, and this is what you were talking about, Boulevard. This is the situation that you find yourself in with this deck so often, and that is just your field clogging up with Frozen Thralls. You know, it's funny, when this card first came out, I had mentioned to you, like, yeah, 1 cost, 8/8, Overwhelm, feels good, right? You just wait a bunch of turns, but man, I'll tell you, the side effect of it clogging up the board almost always comes into play with these TLC decks, and again, I got to give this advantage to Dreadway right now, also leveling up the Trundle on turn 8. We have the pillar down.
Okay, so we can just jam a natural Watcher. Like, we can't Matron into it, but we can play the Matron and then overwrite something with the Watcher, and Dreadway doesn't have an answer for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the mirror match, right? Generally speaking, unless you have an Entomb, that attack, and then that's assuming you don't have an open attack, you know, you can just attack it and you'll win the game. There's no kind of counterplay in the mirror match. It's basically whoever is going to be able to get this Watcher down and attack ASAP, and that might look to be Bboom Teemo here, like you mentioned.
You can Entomb it. We would be able to run out the Lysandra, because this is something that you're going to see coming. And maybe we do just actually pass on the side of Bboom Teemo here, because Dreadway, as it stands, doesn't actually have the combo on 9. We've only got, you know, we would have to play out our Matron to get the Lysandra down, and then we don't have a backup Matron. We don't have another pillar. We need a Fading Memories. Dreadway's actually just shy of the combo, and I'm really curious if Bboom Teemo is going to try to force it out here, or if we're going to play it slow. And it looks like we are going to play it slow and going to be rewarded for it, unless not Fading Memories off the top.
Another Matron, though, for Bboom Teemo.
That's really good.
That is insane right now, Boulevard. That is definitely leading me to believe that Bboom Teemo is going to be in a good spot to win this game here. We'll see how Dreadway goes about this turn. I'm not sure you actually want to stick a Lysandra here.
No, if anything, you would Matron into a Lysandra, but even then, you know, you just don't. Then you're out your Matron, which takes you off of a Fading Memories top deck, assuming something happens to your Matron. It's a risk that you don't need to run. And I do like just holding it back here. So instead, we are going to Entomb the Trundle. And I like the Entomb rather than something like the Flash Freeze. No reason to give your opponent the sort of big unit back. But also, actually, no, I lied. I don't like Entombing. And I don't like Entombing specifically because that is going to give
a pillar to Dreadway.
And the ability to run out another Trundle. I think I would have preferred the Flash Freeze there.
I don't think it matters because we're going to be able to go off next turn.
Yeah, we have so many ways to go off. We have the Matron into the Watcher, and it's like, okay, can you deal with that one? Cool. I will Fading Memories my Watcher, run that one out. Can you deal with that? Okay, cool. Now I'm going to run out the real Watcher, and surely you have nothing for that one. And maybe what we were actually doing with the Entomb play, and I think this is what they had to be going for, is saying, hey, I want to make sure that you can't play a Trundle's Icequake to not deck out. I want you to have to commit another champion to the board and have another champion spell in hand. And Dreadway does, but that's so many resources that I don't think they're going to be able to win the game anyway. You know, as we had mentioned a little bit earlier on in the day, these Matrons are still 11-17s. Those are big, big units, and I don't know if you're going to be able to withstand the damage from that after these sort of fake Matrons destroy your board.
You mean Watchers?
Yes.
Yeah. Same thing. They're all the same thing.
Matron and Watcher are just interchangeable to me at this point.
They're all a part of the combo.
Never one without the other, which I think is the Lysandra quote from League of Legends. But
there we go. See, it all makes sense at the end of the day. Yeah, and this is we're getting it down before Dreadway, and this is just going to lead to us being able to take home the victory. This is going to obliterate the deck. There's no responses in TLC, like I mentioned earlier, outside of Entomb. Even the Flash Freeze, like, you can still attack. Flash Freeze doesn't do anything. So we're in a good spot, and I do think that Bboom Teemo is going to be able to take home the victory here.
Well, we do still have the Lysandra's Entomb in hand, so we're not actually going to deck out. Oh, okay. Well, we can take one hit. So you can't block with the... Well, you can block with the Everescent Sentry, kind of. The way that it's a little funky, right? Because the deck gets obliterated on attack declaration. You can line up the Sentry and... Oh, never mind. I see it. Okay, Bboom Teemo's just going to Ice Shard in response to the champion spell.
Ah, okay.
Took me a while to find that one.
Yep.
Apologize for that, but that is going to be the line.
Yep, yeah, there it is. There is the Ice Shard here. Yeah, awesome play from Bboom Teemo here. Yep, there it is. And that's going to be the surrender from Dreadway. And we are going to a game 3, ladies and gentlemen, Dreadway and Bboom Teemo.
All right, game 3, moving over to what it is considered a really uphill battle for Bboom Teemo, trying to play mushrooms into Lissandra.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unwinnable. You know, there are thermo beams and other removal spells that you can save specifically for the Lissandra, but you really don't interact with the matron combo particularly well either.
No, there's not. I mean, we do have 2 3 sisters in here to possibly help with that a little bit later in the game, but other than that, not great stuff. Technically, so this is interesting. I've never actually seen, we can iterative improvement a watcher. I don't know if that ever comes into play.
It could.
Yeah, I'm just, wait, when it copies it, if it's 0 and it hits the board, it's 0 when it hits your hand, right? If you copy it? No, it's not. All right, never mind. So we can't actually play it. It was worth a shot.
I have seen someone, I'll run out of watcher and they're like, cool, I'll fading memories your watcher. And I'm like, you mean your 17 mana watcher?
Yeah. You didn't play 8 cost units, and there's no way for this deck to get 8 cost units out. So that is not going to happen. So yeah, I mean, there's really no interaction, like you mentioned. Thermogenic Beam can't even kill it at 13 mana. So that's
it's really about trying to just put on as much early pressure as possible with the mushrooms, with the ballistic bot. But Dreadway has the 3/3s to match the board right now, and we're just going to try and get our damage where we can. No Lissandra yet on the side of Dreadway, no Trundles either. Not the best hand in the world, but we do have 2 ways to clear out a board of 3/3s. And I think that's one of the reasons that Bboom Teemo is just playing balls to the wall here, just saying, you know what, I'm going to attack with my Puffcat Peddler and my Ballistic Bot. I know that you have ways to clear this out, so I'm going to use this opportunity to push through damage with, at the very least, my Veteran Investigator.
Yeah, if you're going to lose your board, you might as well use it. I do want to point out, too, there is, though, another Spoils of War in this build. We just saw it last round. Apparently, Spoils of War, I mean, it's a thing. People are playing it. I don't hate it. I like to see it. And honestly, Bboom Teemo's start here, I'm not hating either, Boulevard. I mean, we did get some use out of this Ballistic Bot. We're actually saving the Ballistic Bot after this trade as well.
And I think we're leveling Teemo here. I think that's what that Mystic Shot was meant to do.
Yep. Wow.
Teemo, get it outside the range of the whale, and there's no Ice Shard follow-up or Vile Feast. This is actually a really good turn for Bboom Teemo.
Yeah, and honestly, that 3 damage with the Veteran Investigator I think is really important. I mean, we're still going to lose this field, but damn.
We're going to lose it all next turn, but there are 30 shrooms shuffled into the opposing deck, and you actually can't level Lissandra until turn 8 at the absolute earliest, so there is going to be a few turns of mushrooms coming through. Unfortunately, no landmark for Bboom Teemo just yet, though, which I think would be really nice to try and accelerate this, especially because against control decks like this, the hand's pretty clogged. You know, you're going to have to spend a lot of mana and play kind of inefficiently to make sure that you're not overdrawing the combo pieces that you have yet to find.
Oh, do it. I love the Mystic Shot in response. Just do it. Just go ham. We're actually,
I really like the iterative.
Yeah, I like that too. This all feels so good. We actually don't have to use the Mystic Shot now that we know we're going to get another Puffcat Peddler, so it's either way, we're still going to get those extra shrooms. And now we have the Ignition on top of this Puffcat Peddler. This is an insane start for this deck, just going ham here.
Yeah, we've got the Chump Pump on the following turn as well. Probably even just going to take the open attack.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to actually deal with this. Yeah, I mean, Hexcore Foundry is the only thing that makes this hand better. And, I mean, you can tell, too, we have an Ezreal in hand. We are not caring about targets. We're going everything to the face. This Ezreal might get summoned to just try to do, you know, a Nexus Strike. But 3 damage on a draw there. 3 shrooms plus 3 more getting shuffled in. 1 damage to Nexus. Boulevard. This is looking like a really quick win out of Frostbite Foundry here for Bboom Teemo. There's one more.
These are some of my favorite games in Legends of Runeterra, where you take your deck's game plan, you throw it entirely out the window, and just play as aggressively as possible. I really liked, I know you were a fan of this as well, the old Karma Ezreal mirrors, where players would just say, you know what are you gonna do if I slam a Karma on 6? Did you actually keep the answer for this? Oh, you didn't? That's crazy. Here's 4 to the face.
Yep, I gotta agree with you, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Not to mention, this Bladed Ravine feels so bad.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Oh, Jesus.
Just forcing a Withering Wail out of your opponent, and Dreadway You know, didn't get the Trundle, draws a Lysandra immediately after entreating for one, which you never love to see, but yeah, things are looking rough. There's an insane amount of
One,
shrooms
two,
in the deck,
nope,
but
only
still only drawing
And
one.
another Trump wump. I mean, I still like our situation, Boulevard. We have, and that's all right. Bladed Ravine, we're technically going to heal 2 total, but we have, what is this? 15 times 9. Can I do math? 24 more shrooms are about to get shuffled in with this Puffcat Peddler. That has got to put us, I mean, we can't hover the deck, but I think we're somewhere around the 50 to 60 range. And 2 more draws, I think, is going to put us in a pretty good spot here, especially, I mean, do we have a way to deal with Ezreal if it comes out? Oh, we do have a box in hand. So if we go for the Ezreal next turn, box would be able to clean that up.
What we don't have is a way to level Lysandra. And actually, 68 shrooms in deck to 25 cards. Things are working out really well
They heard me.
for Bboom Teemo here. Because there wasn't a way to level the Lysandra, and we didn't actually draw an answer for the Lysandra. If that came down leveled, that would be really, really bad for Bboom Teemo. Instead, we get a big shroom draw.
Spoils saves the Ezreal. Oh my god!
Is this lethal? We're gonna have to try and box this. Then we're gonna have to
flash freeze it. See, spoils. Oh, now it just gets through.
I think we said Juani.
Yeah. Oh my god.
There is still exactly enough mana for both flash freeze and box, so we are going to be able to take no damage this turn. But there's still what, 63 shrooms in the deck.
Wait, no, we still take damage from the Sejuani, don't we?
We have flash freeze. Oh
wait, no, we just wait. Oh, never mind, because we don't have the Spoils of War anymore that's available. So, man, I really wanted to see the Spoils of War. Yeah.
We don't know if this card has an animation. We don't know anything about it. But, all right, hold your breath.
We got.
See if we can count to 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. And that is going to be Bboom Teemo using Teemo to take home the victory.
That's what champions are made of.